Good morning, friends, and thanks for dropping by. It is 5:05 a.m., and we're about to get started with a morning routine. This morning we are doing some mobility, and we're going to do some easy routines, stretches, movements to increase the range of motion of the joints, muscles in my body, and to maintain the range of motion in the joints, muscles, and systems of my body. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to sleep between 7 and 9 hours in the night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, with the goal being weight maintenance, staying at the same weight over time, which I think I'm succeeding at quite all right. I do so by eating a lot of greens, vegetables, a lot of variation, different nutrients, and by trying to hit my protein goals to support my strength and muscle building training. I also show up for training, for strength training, for endurance training, HIIT training, strength endurance training, steady state cardio, all different kinds of modalities of training to tackle different challenges of general health and fitness. I try to spend time with people I love and care about, do things that I enjoy, generally try to live a stress-free life. And every morning I'm here and we do a workout. So if that's something you're interested in, welcome, thanks, and we are going to get started at 5:07 a.m. as I keep talking. Because this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I think it's important to note that at the start of every session, we are not, or I am not, training to develop a certain look or aesthetic. I am training because I want to be able to keep up with the demands and challenges life keeps throwing at us, at me. And I want to be able to feel physically fit and capable to take on life's challenges with a smile. And there are a couple of reasons why I find this important. And the first reason is that I've understood that we could live to be 100. That might be at the farthest range of possibilities, but not impossible. I've also learned and understood that it is very likely that I might turn 80, which puts me just over half of my life. And if I turn 100, we still have a lot more than half to go. Now, I'm fine with either. I have no particular ambition to be 100 or to be 80. The only thing that I would want is to be healthy. And to be healthy, fit, and capable, not only today, But when I'm 50, when I'm 60, when I'm 70, and when I'm 80, when I'm 90, and maybe even if we reach that amazing age of 100, all right? So that's what I would like. I would just like to stay fit and healthy, free from discomfort, free from disease, free from medicine, and as far as is possible, and just in general, just stay capable and able by doing the basics. And I think that the basics are relatively straightforward as I talk about them every day here on the channel. The second reason that I find this important and that I show up every day is that I have two kids and I would like them to see what an active, healthy adult is, so that they have a role model of someone that they can at least pick up the basics of good sleep and why it matters, of good food and good eating patterns and why it matters, sufficient movement and why that matters. There's no shortage of activity in their lives, and why it's important to move, to train, to do sports, to play actively. To teach them the value of friendship and why it matters, and to provide them with the opportunities to see why hobbies and pursuits, doing things for the sake of doing them, matters, and how we can actually find things that we enjoy doing for life. So that's why I find this important as well, to provide them with the knowledge, skills, and tools for the world that they are going to inhabit. Because in general, I think the challenges around staying fit and healthy have always been there for the last 50 years. But the knowledge and skills on how to deal with a world that wants you to sleep less, eat more, and move little, that is the one that requires us to actually set a different baseline in our knowledge, behaviors, and understanding of what health and fitness actually is. And I think for us as adults, it's actually easy to forget, right? Because we think that we understand and know life. But here's the thing that worries me, and that also explains a lot to me about my life and my struggle with a healthy weight. That is that more than half of adults is overweight, and a good 10 to 13% of them is obese. This is a statistic for the Netherlands. Now, that is a lot of people carrying around excess soft tissue, and with that, a manifold risk of developing at a later age, right, certain discomforts and diseases that could have been preventable or avoidable entirely. What do I mean by that? I mean is that you could be perfectly comfortable, healthy, functioning well between your 30s and your 60s. Though you might start to notice some, lack of ability, slight discomfort, maybe attributable to a poor overall condition. And age, obviously, because deterioration is expected, right? Over the course of those 30 years, between 30 and 60, you would expect that you would start to move less frequently, less intensely. However, there are now so many examples to the opposite that we really need to question whether that is actually the natural flow of life, or whether that is a consequence of what we choose to do in terms of our sleep, our food, our movement, our connections, and our hobbies and pursuits. So you might be completely fine and then find that there's suddenly a whole slew of problems that are not necessarily age-related, but that are health and lifestyle related. And the reason that then becomes such an issue is because for 30 years we have not been mindful at all about the health and fitness that we're pursuing. YouTube punk, how's it going? Says it's getting hot. I appreciate you dropping by. It looks like you've been able to find some time in your schedule again. And that's hopefully a good sign, as in that you have things under control. I am doing well here in Amsterdam. It is also getting warm here. Let's hope that we can let's hope that we can keep the temperature at normal levels and not reach tropical ranges in this country like we sometimes do, and just be mindful of the heat, right? And the fact that for the heat, you need to find some shade and drink sufficiently, buddy, to make sure we keep functioning well. But I'm not telling you anything new, I think, anything you don't know. It's good to see you this morning, and thanks for dropping by and saying hi. So, we might get a crude awakening after age 60. Sometimes comes a bit earlier, but that's usually simply the age where, the mix of not having minding our lifestyle and general deterioration or degeneration of recuperability and ability actually starts to take its toll on us. And I think we do ourselves no favors by not being aware of the amount of influence we can have actually on our long-term health and our long-term fitness. Simply by being mindful of some of the basics, such as how much and how well we're sleeping, and how much and how well we're eating, and how much and how well we are moving, and how much and how well we are training, how much and how well we're spending time with the people we love and care about. We underestimate the impact on our health because we don't really notice anything, right? If we don't look like a bodybuilder after training for 2 weeks, then the training must not be working, isn't that right? And I think that is the biggest missed opportunity we have in terms of actually maybe getting to our 70s and 80s still fully capable and able as we were in our 20s, 30s, and 40s. I mean, barring a 10-second sprint on 100 meters, which I understand that certain levels of speed just simply aren't attainable, no matter how hard we train through age. Being able to be self-sufficient, carry my groceries home, not have to take blood pressure medication, or any other kind of pharmaceutical chemical concoction, because my body has kept functioning the way it's supposed to function, because the arteries are clear, the heart is strong, the lungs are strong, the muscles are strong and capable. I think that would be the big win over the next 30 to 40 years, right? And then with medical advances, if the mind and body are still working, maybe it's possible to live an active, able life through our 80s and 90s. Imagine the things that we could do with those 10, 15 extra years. I think a decade can make all the difference. And if you get an extra decade in good health, why won't you take it? I'm cleaning up the kitchen, listening to Terry. It's good to know. And let me know if there's anything there that is remotely useful or sensible, or maybe you disagree with. But you let me know. I'm happy to have you along for the conversation. And I hope that kitchen gets cleaned. I know you need to clean that kitchen every day after cooking dinner as well. Especially now that I'm streaming from the kitchen, there's extra pressure to actually make sure that kitchen is somewhat clean and tidy when I get there in the morning. All right, so, just be aware of those little things that we can do today and have big consequences for our future. And I know there's a lot of information, disinformation, a lot of grifters out there, people who want to promise you the world in terms of health and longevity if you buy their products, all right? And I guess that's the one that we need to be wary of. It's the one where there are people there who say, well, you have this problem, but hey, look, I'm selling you this solution. Well, sometimes the things they're selling might be based in truth or helpful in some way, but oftentimes the basics of health and fitness are free, but not easy, right? And I think that's the challenge and the problem that we need to tackle. It's not that we don't know what to do. I think generally nobody believes, right, or is really convinced that not sleeping is good for you, just like nobody's convinced that not eating healthy is going to be that eating healthy is going to be bad for you, right? And I think most of us by now understand that, movement as a part of our daily life is definitely a part of what is going to keep us fit and healthy. So I see no big issues and challenges there, but I think it is more about how does that fit into our daily routine? How do we find those 30 minutes for some form of exercise in the day? How do we find the skill time to develop the skills and knowledge and recipes and even just the time to prepare at least one proper meal in a day, right? So just be mindful of that one. That it is probably more about the pressures we experience on our schedule. Than anything else in terms of how to get fit and healthy. Really clean, right? Thursday. Oh, cool. Okay. I will actually check that out if that's Thursday. For me, that is today. So I'm curious. I will go to his channel and take a look. Thanks for the heads up. It's always interesting to hear what Coach Gregory has to say about kettlebells. I can't wait to get back into kettlebell swings and other things once my back feels ready for it. So it's about finding the time, right, in our schedules. Because I think one of the reasons that the demographics don't lie, and that if you are financially well off, you just tend to live longer and have better health outcomes than if you're financially not well off. Also speaks to the amount of time you yourself or you're able to have others put into preparing proper healthy foods for you, or how you can prioritize your schedule and add certain moments of exercise and movement, or maintain good friendships because you have the time and the money to invest in that. And I think we too easily forget the important role that money actually plays in our general health and well-being. Those side planks. So you've got to work on that core stability for life and for living. So yeah, in general, you can reap the benefits of a different lifestyle, of the investments in health and fitness today that you are likely to reap and receive those benefits for life at a later stage. All right. See, there we go. I think that is a part of life and living. A short 20-second plank here. Up. working on that core stability. Make sure everything keeps working the way it's intended and supposed to. We can keep ourselves upright when it matters. All right, so we talked a lot about health and fitness today. And I hope that it's clear that this is an investment in the long term, the investment of sleeping well, of eating well, of moving sufficiently, keeping my body capable and functional, of building and maintaining those relationships that will help me, over the course of my life, that are both the people that I reflect, talk with, share joy and grief with. So I have that network of friends, family that we can fall back on, but also that we can support and help, right? Because that's very importantly, that is absolutely a two-way street. And the problem with that two-way street is that it requires an investment in both directions, but do not underestimate how important that is as a part of a healthy life and lifestyle. All right, friends, 30 minutes of mobility in the pocket this morning. I'm going to quickly clean up. I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee. Then we're going to go out for a walk. Thanks for dropping by, saying hi, YouTube punk. Glad we got to catch up and chat a little bit. I hope you're doing well. Hope the real life intrusion wasn't anything serious. And I hope that that kitchen is spotless and clean, that you're going to be well for the rest of the day in life. For anyone else who's watching, my name is Toby. I'm 41 years old. I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. If that's something you're interested in, you can subscribe to my channel, where you'll see me do different workouts throughout the week, every morning, 30 minutes, and where I do a little podcast where I go into my kitchen and talk about different topics related to health and fitness, which is up next. Remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. This person we are today is going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. So a bit of kindness is going to go a long way. All right? And the only way to get anything done, friends, is by showing up and doing the work, which is why I'll see you tomorrow. All right? And remember, friends, subscribe.